right? Maybe you've been feeling stuck for a while, or you've been searching for clarity and you haven't found it. I call this the pivot mark or the pivot moment when you wake up and you say no more.
Hi everyone, Elle Ballard is here today on our Empowered Global Women in Business podcast. And I have my guest today with us, Jenny Vukovcan. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, community.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is going to be another great conversation. I'm excited to dive in, to get to know you and what you do in the world. So, Jenny Vukovcan is a transformational mindset coach and clarity catalyst trainer, a psychology graduate turned best-selling author and globally recognized empowerment expert, all because she listened to that inner voice urging her to step into her greatness. And now she's here to guide others to do the same. Jenny specializes in supporting seekers and new entrepreneurs to discover their purpose, find fulfillment, and gain clarity on their lives and business journey. Through mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and somatic coaching practices and tools, she helps your clients and students break free from limitations, get unstuck, and live their fully expressed potential. Just like she has transformed her own journey, she's here to empower those seeking more to step into their true selves and create the life they always envisioned. Beautiful. I love it. I cannot wait to dive deep into it. But before we even go there, and I understand it connects to your personal experience as it usually happens, but what is that experience in your life? Maybe you could share with us that really gave you this beginning for this work.
Yeah, what's like the inspiration for it all? Yeah, it's such a good question. And I think for a lot of people, they know that inspiration doesn't necessarily come right away. It could be like a trinkets of messages or download from the universe, in my opinion, right? In my faith and belief. And they show breadcrumbs throughout your life. And finally, one day you wake up and you're like, I get to change. I get to move on. I need to do something different, right? Maybe you've been feeling stuck for a while, or you've been searching for clarity and you haven't found it. I call this the pivot mark or the pivot moment when you wake up and you say no more. There got to be a change. For me, that was being on the journey of motherhood, having a hard time getting pregnant, and then being blessed with four beautiful angels who I love more than anything,
Oh,
and finding that motherhood is not all that I wanted to do. I can do more, I can be more.
yeah.
And the guilt that followed with all that, wanting to be more, wanting to do more, and not being just a mom, but I want more. So that's when the pivot moment started. When I woke up that morning and I heard the kids screaming in the background, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I get to go back to Jenny, the way I was before when I had my vision and my dreams. That I kind of gave up for motherhood for a while. So
I love that. You have such a beautiful experience. Well, I know you're a beautiful person and that out and that beautiful experience combining motherhood, combining your experience as a coach, working with other women. And I believe that's how we met. And you have your own community as well. All of this experience kind of led you to now doing this even deeper work for people, right? Now, while building all of that in your life, and including being a mother and building a business, being a mother in itself is more than full time,
yeah,
right? With kids, but also while building business on your own, what are some of the, I guess, what is one of the biggest, and I can imagine there's so many lessons in this journey, but what maybe you could, if you could pick one of the biggest lessons that you could share with our listeners that really stuck with you, or maybe changed the direction of what you were doing?
my work. Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question too, because I felt like I used to be a coach for many years. I got my certifications and I got certified in NLP and somatic work back in 2004. And then I was working for a few years, but then I got pregnant and second one, and then my twins and like chaos. And that's when I started wearing off the other path. When I woke up that morning and I decided, it's time for Jenny to come back. I wanted to go back to coaching because really my passion and purpose and mission is really to impact moms to create a life that they love to wake up to. That's when I'm like, oh, I need to do something different. And the trajectory came from knowing that the life outside of motherhood had changed. Marketing had changed. Business building had changed. The world looked different when you emerge from that cocoon of motherhood, right? And the things that I implemented and did wasn't working as well as they had before. So it kind of led me to this path of discovery and finding what works and what doesn't. And just like many others, you listen to coaches, you listen to so-called experts, you take the programs, and you wind up even more unclear and stuck because you're listening to everyone else. What I've learned is that the change and the shift came from me taking a step back and listening to myself and getting the clarity for myself, independent of the outside world. So instead of looking for external validators, I started looking at internal validators. Where's my joy? What lights me up? Where's my passion? What makes me happy, right? And I let that be my guiding post instead of what the coach said. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have this challenge.
I can so relate, and I'm so glad you went there. I'm so glad you said that. That's that exact thing. In fact, I was speaking about it this morning in the webinar, actually, the same thing, that inner voice, how often it just gets buried under all these layers of programming when we grow up, voices and messages we hear when growing up, and then when we are in adulthood, we're opening, having all this people around us telling us what to do. And I love that you said that as a lesson, because I know I've also went through the same exact thing. And when I asked me with me, right? Like, what do you want? Like, what do you like looking at me? What do you really want?
What do you want?
I realized a lot of the messages were, like we're receiving somebody giving us, it's really not our true desires at the end of the day. I love that. Thank you for bringing that. And thank you for bringing light into that, because it's just so, so important. We're also unique and beautiful. It's just my like you touched something, I guess. Yeah, it's just so good to be able to go there and have that reminder. So thank you for sharing that with our listeners. Now I want to kind of dive deep. Like, what does it mean now that we talked about a little bit? And I love the flow of this conversation, by the way, because it's really leading us, it's guiding us where we need to go. But I want to go a little bit deeper into this catalyst, trainer and clarity catalyst trainer that I mentioned earlier when I was introducing you. What does it really mean so that listeners understand better what really mean by that? What does that entails?
That's like a good question too. I love your questions, Elle. They are so awesome. Yeah, so the Clarity Catalyst is a program that I'm certified to teach in. It's an 8-week course that's based on a Stanford University master's degree program back from 1979 that was created by Dr. Michael Ray. And it was actually created at Stanford by him because he saw the business students and they were very linear in their way of thinking and did very to the book and had a hard time looking outside of the box of what else is possible. He knew that they had to get in touch with their inner selves to get to that next level and get clarity and get unstuck in life, right? On how to kind of live life fully self-expressed. So he created this course called the Clarity Catalyst, life-changing for all of them. And it was actually touted as one of the most life-changing courses ever taught at Stanford. And then in 2001, it was taken out and given to widowers of 9/11, people who lost spouses at 9/11. And as you can imagine, having like their life turned upside down. And of course, they had the psychology help and other professionals, but they were giving this training as well and had remarkable results for them too. So what they found was this class, the Clarity Catalyst, worked for not just business students, but also for trauma survivors. So then it was taken out of Stanford and given to general population like you and me. So the Clarity Catalyst, to get back to your question, what that really means is what we talked about before, is that inner knowledge. It's that inner wisdom that we all have, but we don't all have access to it because we're stuck on that level of listening to everyone else. I teach something called the 3 levels of wisdom. And it comes from this idea or notion that there's mind and body and soul level wisdom. And most of us operate from the mind level. That's the strategies. It's all the information we take in, right? The second level is the body level. And that's where we get the mind knowledge down to knowledge, like mind level wisdom, right? Down to knowledge level, where we actually apply the strategies and all our knowledge that we know. So most of entrepreneurs, I've noticed working in this field for so many years, are kind of living on the first and second level because we do strategies, we listen to coaches, we take programs, and we learn new things. And then most of us take action, right? And we implement, and then it becomes knowledge. And then we continue, right? Many of us stay on that level because that's also where limitations live. We hear from other people. It's like, oh, when things don't go well, we don't stop and get clarity on what it is that keeps us stuck. Instead, we're like, oh, there's something wrong with us. We got on the first level again. And, oh, I must try a new strategy or a different way of launching, or maybe this is a wrong niche, right? And it's like a vicious cycle. So what the Clarity Catalyst does and what it stands for is this kind of bridge onto your own wisdom. It helps you take a step back and learn your own truth, who you are. And this information that's knowledge before becomes inner wisdom or soul wisdom, that I call it. And the Clarity Catalyst helps you with this, right? It's the bridge. And you do that with mindfulness. You do that with emotional intelligence. You do that with coaching too, right? And NLP. There are a lot of ways you can get to your own intuition and cultivate them. So the clarity comes from accessing your inner wisdom. Did that answer the question?
Yes, yes. And I love, 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 love that. I love that. Thank you for going into the specifics and explaining how the whole thing even was born and originated. That gives so much history into how it was evolving, right? And it's beautiful. I love that. So we will, for our listeners, we will post links on how to read more about it and how to connect with Jenny in the comments here, whether you are on our audio version or YouTube. Now, this is Empowered Global Women in Business podcast. I love doing this because I always learn something, rediscover something, speaking with so many different beautiful women, both of us living in a different country where you're born, because you're originally from Sweden, right?
Yes.
And so all of those things that make us who we are. What does it mean for you to be a woman of the world?
I'd love to hear all the other variations of this answer that you get on your podcast. I have to go back and listen. For me, I always think of life and myself as whole beings. So being a woman of the world or mom of the world or entrepreneur of the world, all of that means that I am whole and complete because we all have something from every country, something from every culture, because everyone we touch and everyone we meet in life gives us something, besides a learning, something we eat from a culture, and that becomes part of who we are, right? So for me, being a woman of the world really means that I'm whole and complete, just like everyone else. We're all women of the world.
Yes, I love that. Beautiful, beautifully said. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for answering. Now, the final part of our conversation in the podcast, usually I go through, we do rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Awesome. My first question is, your favorite book name is?
Oh, The Three Levels of Wisdom. That's my own book.
Love it. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Favorite international destination to visit?
Ooh, where I've been or where I'm going, or haven't been yet.
Either one, I guess.
Either one. I always wanted to go to Fiji and Bali. So
Oh, yes. Awesome. Summer or winter?
summer.
And the final question is things that you have discovered about yourself recently.
Ooh, that's a good one. That I don't need anyone's approval or knowledge to create my own path.
Yay. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Jenny. Always love our chats, our conversations, and I know we are working together on something really cool coming soon. But yes, for listeners, check out links for Jenny, connect with her. She's beautiful and amazing, has this extensive experience on everything. And with that, we will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.